Back again like a bad slogan is the term concept of a deal. This is not a bad fever dream. Once again, Trump is acknowledging we didn't exactly sign a trade deal with China late Sunday, early Monday. It's more of a concept. It's like a doodle on a napkin or something like that. This is so funny. This is from the interview that Sean Hannity did with Donald Trump yesterday on Air Force One. We looked at some of it at the beginning of the show, but I want to focus in on the trade aspect of it. Hannity fed Trump the line, you announced the deal with China. And even Trump acknowledges, well, it's, temporarily suspending tariffs. It's not really a deal. It's just agreeing we're just doing nothing while maybe we will get a deal done. I have to hand it to Trump. At least he's being honest, but he sort of reluctantly, sheepishly concedes. It's a concept. It's not exactly a deal yet.
It was a week ago Friday where I saw that China announced, quote, if the president is serious, we will be willing to negotiate with him. And Scott Bessent, your Treasury Secretary, met with their representatives in Geneva on Saturday. On Monday, you're announcing a trade, well, actually on Sunday, you announced a deal with China.
You announced a deal with China. Remember, that didn't happen, but good for Trump. He admits it.
Yeah. How did that happen that quickly?
Well, they met on Saturday and Sunday, and they had a deal pretty much from the beginning. It was the concept of a deal.
They had a deal pretty much from the beginning. Well, at least the concept of a deal. There it is. He's got the concept of a healthcare plan, and he's got the concept of a deal with China. In other words, there is no deal. It's like saying we're extremely close to being pregnant. Okay, so are you pregnant right now? Well, we have the concept. We've got the framework here for a pregnancy. Okay, so you were not currently pregnant. You do not currently have any kind of deal with China. And of course, two sides saying we will pause the tariffs and retaliatory tariffs temporarily to allow negotiations. That is not a deal. That is the first precursor to getting people together to start having a conversation about what a hypothetical deal might look like. Very different things. This is not the first time he's done this. Back in 2018, Trump claimed to have an incredible new agreement with China. That was fake. It just didn't happen. And then came the tariffs, the retaliation, the trade war that jacked up prices for American farmers, manufacturers, consumers. But the concept of it was really, really strong. Now, Trump on trade is an interesting kind of storyline, because if you go back to 2015, when Trump came down the escalator, literally and proverbially, he focused significantly on trade. One of the areas in which he was able to kind of coalesce support was from voters who felt, rightly or wrongly, like part of their economic suffering was because of something China did, something foreign countries did, something sort of related to trade. And Trump insisted, I am going to fix this. But the reality is Trump has never really closed any major lasting trade agreement. You might think, well, what about USMCA replacing NAFTA? It was essentially the same, mostly written before Trump took office and just rebranded by Trump. And by the way, if NAFTA being replaced by USMCA was so good, why is it that those now doing what USMCA encouraged would be punished by Trump's new tariff scheme, which says if you are jointly manufacturing vehicles, Mexico, Canada, US, which was what USMCA encouraged, you would be punished for that under Trump's new tariffs. How great could that deal have been if now you are punished for it if Trump gets his way with the new tariffs? So the playbook has been the same one for a long time. You declare a deal, you provide no details, you hope nobody reads the fine print or realizes that there is no deal. And then when it falls apart or something doesn't work, you either blame Democrats or you blame the last Democratic president, or you do whatever you can to get out from under it. So the real damage here is that Trump is spinning these fairy tales about concepts. There are other countries out there signing actual trade pacts. China is moving forward with other Asian countries, European, and even African countries, and saying, let's restructure the way we do trade to take the United States out of the middle of this thing. Do whatever you want, United States. We're figuring out a different way forward. We're not doing that in the United States. They are building real alliances. They're locking in and bolstering supply chains that the US is getting shut out of. And meanwhile, Trump is going, well, let's pause the thing I did because clearly it's bad. And I don't know, maybe Scott Bessent, if he can stay awake long enough, is going to figure out some kind of a way to make a deal. That's the truth. And you got to hand it to Trump. Even he said it's only a concept right now. On the bonus show today, we are going to look at the Republican tax and immigration bill. What is in it? Is no tax on tips actually in the bill? Is tax cuts for the rich or tax cuts for the poor part of the deal? We're going to look at all of it. Secondly, a federal judge has said it is okay to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans. What's the logic? What's the justification? We will discuss it. And finally, a divided Supreme Court is going right into a hearing on birthright citizenship. These three stories of significant consequence and could shape what could be a very different looking United States just months from now, 6 to 12 months from now. All of those stories and more on today's bonus show. Make sure you sign up at joinpacman.com. Thank you to the 199 new members over the last couple of weeks. Welcome to every single one of you. And remember that you can get our daily newsletter and get a hold of me directly by getting on our Substack. You can find it at davidpacman.substack.com. You can sign up by entering your email address at the top of my website, davidpacman.com. Or you can just shoot an email over to info@davidpacman.com and say, hey, David, please put me on that newsletter, and I gladly will. I'll see you on the bonus show. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Did you know that countless commercial databases and people search sites are storing your personal information? Anyone from an employer to a former partner can use these platforms to get details about your online presence, your home address, phone number, email, license plate, family members, financial information, even political views. Europe has laws that offer some protection, but in the US, the data is widely accessible. Even the FBI will buy this information from companies to spy on people without a search warrant. Our sponsor, Incogni, provides a solution. It takes just seconds to sign up, and Incogni will send removal requests to all of the major data brokers, legally compelling them to get rid of your data. Incogni keeps you informed throughout the process. You'll get real-time updates, who has complied, which ones are still pending. They'll handle follow-ups, they'll handle appeals on your behalf, and this will save you hundreds of hours. Very few people have the time or resources to do this on their own. This service can also reduce the number of spam calls and emails you get, since many solicitors and scammers get your information from these very same sources. Go to incogni.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman for 60% off. The link is below.